What is up, everybody? Welcome back to episode 13. 13
Yep, lucky number
of
13.
of Motor Time with the Motor Misfits crew. My name is Dan. As always, I am here with Craig. How are you today, Craig?
Oh, good. It's a little rainy, a little overcast, but it's with the rain, it's not snow, and that means we're closer to spring, which means more riding time. So I'll take a little rain here and there.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, we got some rain coming up here as well. The nice part about it is we had that weird day a couple weeks ago where where it was 70s in the morning. It got brutally windy in the mid afternoon, and then we had snow overnight. So it was kind of like a little bipolar moment. But with the rain, like you said, comes with the riding season's even closer, getting all the salt and road dirt off of the road. I don't know if you noticed, like up by us, after it rained really, really bad, in between that rain and snow that we had, there was a bad dust storm that came through with it,
Yeah.
and the cars became filthy. I'm talking like nasty, 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 nasty. But
You mean like that one over there?
with
It's
that,
it's nasty.
yeah, well, that's cleaner than normal. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's you can still see it shining.
Yeah.
So, but
It's all the new lights.
but yeah. Oh yeah, well, I mean, tell them about that project. You did a little project
Yeah.
over the week.
So when we did our garage out here, we put in lights, and we didn't ever put in a switch. So literally, they were on for a year, without ever being turned off. And they were, they're LED lights, so they work great. But then we got to looking up, and it was like, oh, this strip of the LED light is out. Well, this strip of that one is out. Well, this strip of that one is out. So about a week ago, we looked up, and literally we were working on like 4 strips of LED lights out here. So we're like, we got to do something and get them changed. So we got some new lights, got them hung. They're on a switch now, so we shut them off. But it makes it a
Well,
whole
that's
lot brighter
positive.
out here.
Well, it actually does look a lot nicer, and I know you added a couple more as well. So
Yeah.
some of those dark spots of the garage aren't necessarily there anymore. And granted, I mean, you do have, 2 windows on the back side, and then you have a couple windows on the one side. And if those garage doors are closed, it's pretty dark in
Yeah.
there as well. So,
Yep.
but well, that's always a fun project. I know you had spring break. You got any plans? Any things that you are looking to get done and do? And
Well, we've got guests and visitors coming in for spring break. From the great northern part of the Chicago area. So people coming in for spring break. We already had some friends in, so just hanging out, getting some projects around here done. You mentioned the lights. Along with that, maybe doing some dry pour concrete, working on that. So we're not going anywhere, but definitely a lot of projects around to try to get finished up.
well, especially with the riding season that we got planned, I mean, we definitely have a couple, um, trips that are planned, and they're kind of sporadically planned. And I know you just talked about a couple days ago doing a crazy ride in July, which
Yeah.
I'm really trying to see if I can make that happen. But it's just
That's a
that's
crazy
a
one. That's a straight
that
crazy.
that's a straight crazy one, and I would love to be there by your side, because I don't think when you go on these longer rides, yeah, sometimes it's nice to go out by yourself, but when you're going to 26 states in 4 days and riding, that's a day in itself. But that'll be for another conversation and whatnot, you know. But like the one thing that going into our first little talk here is, you know, with bikes like ours that have radios and speakers, and even when there are some helmets. You know, we got Bluetooth in our helmets, and some people wear earbuds underneath their helmet or whatnot. You know, like what's your go-to? Well, I'll kind of make it a couple parter. What's your go-to radio source? You know, I use a couple. I know you have XM on yours.
Yeah.
Um, you know, I've heard pros cons from using YouTube because the sound isn't always the greatest. Um, to SoundCloud to Pandora. You know, what's your go-to music source?
So my go-to, of course, we've got XM in our cars, so that's what we use on the bike, and we source it through my through my phone or whatever's plugged in. So we've got Apple CarPlay on the bike that allows us to play the stuff. So that makes it super nice, and our liked tracks and liked music kind of follow us. So depending on if my phone's plugged in or Jay's phone's plugged in, we use whoever. So we get kind of a mixture of music sources. Mine is more country and kind of early 90s to mid 90s rap and hip hop stuff, where hers is more current, kind of more current pop, I guess you would call it, along with she likes some metal stuff. But we use XM on the bikes just because that's what we're used to in the cars. So that's what we continue to use, on the bike.
I gotcha. And do you feel one? So you said that you'll do a lot of Sirius or XM radio or whatever you want to call it nowadays. Yeah. And then do you use like a Pandora? Do you have a playlist? Do you have stuff saved on your phone?
So I'm really bad about it because some of the places that I lead you guys into, there is no cell service, there is no nothing. So you can't use Pandora or anything, and I don't have any music stored on my phone at all. So when we get into those places, I just go without. But I used to use Pandora a lot before I got my Apple CarPlay, and that was how I did music, was just Pandora. So I have a pretty good set of music in there, 3 or 4 different playlists that I go to when I'm on the bike, and they've got between 20 and 30 songs in each one of them, so that's 60 songs. But since I've switched over, and one of the big things that a lot of people don't take into account is when you have Apple CarPlay on your bike, it makes it so much easier for those app-based things to be to be used, because they're literally at your thumbs. Like I can change a song, change a station from my thumbs, looking at the screen that's right in front of me.
Right. I know on my 03, my hand controls do not work whatsoever, just because they didn't come out with modules until later.
Yeah.
And we did try putting the module through it, but for some reason it wasn't talking or wasn't working properly. So it's like I'll be jamming in music real loud on the 03, and then I'll have to be like, okay, I got to put it in neutral real quick so that I can turn down the radio. If not, I'm coming in hot to a stoplight and it's going to be blasted loud.
Yeah.
So, but on the 2014, it does have the new, the new radio in it, the doubled in setup, which when I plug into the USB, it does go through. I don't necessarily have Apple CarPlay, but it plugs in through that and goes through there. I myself used to be a Pandora person a lot, but I've switched over to YouTube just because a lot of the Google stuff and whatnot, and a lot of I listen to a very is the word eclectic, but I listen to I could go be listening to some Frank Sinatra on this end of the spectrum, all the way over to like some nasty gangster rap that people be like, what the hell is this white guy listening to? But why don't you
tell everybody what you play every time we roll up and we see somebody getting pulled over or we see a cop standing on the side of the road? What's your go-to jam for that?
I have that saved. Like I have an icon that I can click on it that I've saved on my phone, which mind you, I don't recommend you messing with your phone when riding, but they always get the go-to Cops theme song. And 9 times out of 10, the cops are cracking up laughing when it happens. Um, Funny story, and it just brought me into this. Daytona Bike Week was a couple weeks, and
Yeah,
there was a guy that was down there, and he was vlogging the entire strip. Now, I've never been to Daytona. I know you have,
yeah,
but there are a lot of people down in Daytona right now that want the bike fest to go away. They do not
yeah.
want it there anymore, and whatnot. And even though it brings a lot of, I mean, besides the Daytona 500 and stuff like that, it brings a lot of people 2 to 3 times a year, and it's a lot, you know.
Oh
But
yeah.
they were saying that even just revving your motorcycle up, they'll they'll write you a ticket.
Yep.
You have your radio up too loud, they'll write you a ticket. And these tickets are like 200 some dollars, and they will impound your bike. You pay the fee, and so it's $1,000 before you even get the bike out. And I just think it's so crazy that, yeah, I mean, I get it, but on the other hand, I apologize. I've got
No, you're
two
good.
annoying dogs in the background. Um, but what was I gonna say? It's crazy to think that some of these bikes are super loud,
Oh yeah.
um, and they're there's really nothing we can do. Yes, we may rev up our motors and stuff like that, but when they do it intentionally,
Yeah. So
let's have
uh,
some fun a little bit.
that's where I think it's a little different. They're not going to get you for revving your engine just riding down the road. Coming to a stop, giving it a couple of quick blips, to get down in gears. That's not what they're talking about. They're talking about the bikes that will sit at a stoplight or a stop sign and just rev it, and just have it sitting there revving the whole time. Because down Main Street, literally, you're going 2 or 3 miles an hour. You're not going very fast at all. So you don't really need to be up in the high RPMs at all. And there's all kinds of people. I mean, there are tens of thousands of people, up and down Main Street, sitting, watching bikes come by, going into the shops and everything. So it's a safety, thing too, because there are people crossing the road in crosswalks all the time, and you may be sitting 2 feet from one. So it's one of those safety things. But one of the big things that they did this year at Bike Week, which they haven't done before, is they didn't allow the slingshots. So if you were in a slingshot, always up until now, that was considered a motorcycle. You could go up and down Main Street because they shut it off to all cars. Well, this year they shut it off to anything that is not a two-wheel or a trike. So slingshots were out. They couldn't go up and down the main strip there. So that was a huge one
Whoa.
that they just came out with this year.
Well, I mean, they shouldn't be. I mean, it's technically you're sitting down low center of gravity in a car. Basically, it's basically like a dune buggy with three wheels. I mean, it's not it's not a motorcycle per se. It's a motor sport.
Yeah.
You know.
Well,
Um,
and I think the big difference is it has a steering wheel. Like, it literally has a steering wheel. Where, the
yeah,
Can-Ams, of course, can you explain a Can-Am for me?
it's a car.
Yeah.
It's a car. You can buy the tires at Walmart. It's a car.
so, so it's got two in the front, one in the back, but you still kind of sit on top of it. So it's kind of like, I would say, a slingshot is more of a car. Then you've got the Can-Ams that are kind of a reverse trike, and then you've got what we consider regular motorcycles and things.
Right.
So don't get me wrong, get out and ride whatever you can, whatever kind of floats your boat. But, you know, the slingshots are a huge thing down on the beach. And to say they can't go up and down Main Street was a huge thing. And that's what the Daytona Bike Week committee said. Hey, we're not having them going up and down Main Street anymore.
Which makes sense. Makes sense. But
Yeah.
um, the music, the music and radio. I mean, I could see to a certain point. I mean, I'll roll up to a stop light or stop sign or whatever, and I'll make sure my music's loud as shit. I mean, because I want people to be able to see me, hear me,
Yeah.
know that I'm there. we ride with some people that, may have a stock exhaust system on it. So you don't hear them as much as, somebody that has a tuned or, exhaust. But, my go-to radio station that they're not radio station, but is YouTube. And I'm just getting back to that. Um, is a lot of independent artists have a tendency to upload there or SoundCloud.
Yeah.
And I'm a big fan of like remixes that you may or may not have heard of before, and or covers that may turn, a country song into a rock song, or a rock song into a country song, or an acoustic. I'm a big fan of acoustical. I think removing it and just letting the artist use their voice as the instrument rather than um, having all sorts of excuse me, audio, auto tune, and all that other shit. So I've used a lot of YouTube, um, but I feel sometimes the audio quality is not as great as some of these other ones, and I believe it's the way that it's processed. I've heard. I was talking with Gus over at Throw Out Audio. Shout out to Gus. But he was telling me that the sound quality is not uploaded properly, where SoundCloud is more of a cleaner, crisper sound. So
Yeah.
I think this year I may switch over a little bit to SoundCloud. I mean, I have tons of uh, you know playlists on YouTube, which maybe we can get some links. I can send a couple links, and we can put it in the
Yeah.
description
We'll put it in
below,
the
which you
description.
can hear. You can see some of our playlists. I listen to a lot of music that will test my stereo's ability. I do have a nicer stereo or an upgraded stereo on my 13 or on my 14 and also on my 03, which I like to test the limits on it and make be real loud and obnoxious. So I'm surprised. I know you with your bike, you've stayed more performance and
Yeah.
look, but I'm surprised that's one thing you just because it's. I don't want to say it's simple, but that's something I'm surprised you have not done to your bike yet.
Yeah,
You
my
know what I mean?
my
Like,
my head unit and my speakers are 100% stock. Like I haven't done a thing to them. They're 100% stock. And it's one of those. I think maybe when my speakers go and they blow or whatever, then will be a time. But I haven't seen the need to upgrade it yet.
well, half the time you don't even listen to it because if I'm riding in front of you, you
Yeah,
can't even hear your
I just
radio.
listen to yours.
So, but oh, it looks like the skies have
Yeah,
opened up.
rain's picking up just a touch. It's coming in and out, so it's like it'll rain and then it'll stop.
Well, it's good for the crops. I know they're going to be starting in the next couple weeks planting and getting
Yeah,
that ready. I know that you're really close to a couple of which is a fun fact, Orville Redenbacher. They have a couple of fields out by you,
yeah,
which
yeah. They grow
is
popcorn.
kind of cool. So, but I think it's a good place to leave it. This one's basically just talking about our radio and our sound. I would say where we like to listen to our music. If you want, leave us a message. Let us know where you've had. Where you get your music for when you ride on your bike. How do you like listen to it? Some people listen to headphones, some people listen through the bike, but we'd love to hear your feedback. Just leave us a comment below. Say, hey, I listen to SoundCloud, or I listen to, Pandora, or if there's another one out there, hey, you know what? We're all open to change and looking forward to, whatever the best ability it is. But, leave us a comment. As always, like, comment, and share this post and video and whatnot. We do these every Tuesday. We want to make sure that, our viewers are liking the content, and, we wouldn't be doing this without you guys. But the one thing I'll start off this week. I know we always try leaving you with something, but what I would leave, you is just remember when one chapter in your life closes, there's going to be another one that opens, and you are your own author, and you can write the beginning, the middle, and the end. It's all up to you. So, but Craig, you got
I
anything? I know you're kind of playing microphone
Yeah,
over
no,
there.
no, I agree. I love what you said. You know, you're your own author. You know, get out and do something. You know, whether it's just going to the store or you know getting out and having an adventure. It's always good to get out and, like you said, you're the one who writes the beginning, middle, and end of your story. So, you know, write that story that you want. Not you know, don't sit around and wait for somebody else to try to do it for you.
Absolutely. Well, as always, Craig, number 13's in the book. Can't wait to continue on, and here's to keep doing more.
Yeah. So we will see you guys next Tuesday.